things are hard to see. When you pray to find love, I know somewhere we could be. There's a place where we can go tonight. The rhythm will make it right, where everyone is happy and the sun will shine all night. Have a good time, let everybody sing. Why don't you let yourself slip out of control? We could have a good time, let everybody sing. Get your feet up on the floor. So when the world feels dark and friends seem hard to find, you know how to light a spark, just to let your worries unwind. When you're down, there's just one way to go. Let us ascend tonight. Everyone could be so happy and the sun will shine all night. Have a good time, let everybody sing. Why don't you let yourself slip out of control? We could have a good time, let everybody sing. Get your feet up on the floor.
Good morning. Good Thursday morning, everybody. How's it going today? How's it going? Hey, Chicken Feet, Amber, Cool Gamer. Hey, what are y'all doing? Hey, so last night Amanda Bearden went live, and I know other people who have covered it. I watched it on a couple different channels last night, but I didn't cover it yet. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to watch this video of the person who was kind of a number one suspect, at least in the eyes of true crimers. And she went on live, a live stream and talked about her mother's case. So, it's weird. But what I wanted to do first is show you the timeline of everything real quick, like just in case somebody doesn't know who this person is. Yes, Amber, I think it will be great discussion. The last that we heard, they were saying that this was a suicide. Am I not supposed to say that word? I don't know. They're saying that this woman drove all these miles away. Now I can see going to another county to self harm, so that you're. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know. But that's not a really big deal to me. But to go shopping in another town at a Dollar General, or what was she at, one of those kind of stores, and there's video of her, and she supposedly went to a Chick-fil-A that day, but she goes all these miles away to go buy these weird things, and then they find her in this remote location, falling down a ravine. She had grabbed onto a tree, and her abdomen was burned. So it's like, it's just weird. And somebody posted, and I don't know if this is a fact because, somebody posted it, that like 0.03%, or it might have been 0.06% of women self-harm with fire. 0.03 or 0.06, less than 100, less than 1%, less than 0.1%. Okay. Less than that. Hey, Beatlemaniac. Yeah, well, they did. They said it was personal, and so let's look at this timeline and see if this will give us some information here, because here we go. This is the whoa, we're having some technical difficulties as usual. Hey, hippie chick, how's it going? I'm going to let me switch my internet over to my other. a different. I'm gonna go to a different place because I don't know if it's them, but it's bugging me. All right, so we got that fixed. Okay, so here is here's the timeline in case anybody doesn't know. This is the lady who what has been found deceased. And then she was found, oh yeah, and she was found naked too and charred. And she sent a cryptic message to her daughter with Venmo of an odd amount. Okay, so on, do I look distorted now? Me and the pups were doing great. Yeah, I got 2 on CBD now. Um, it should be back. It was blinking. Okay, so on September 9th, her husband, Debbie Collier's husband, Stephen, saw his wife before going to bed. He later tells police that he sleeps in a separate room from his wife due to his snoring. Now that's not that uncommon. And I was in a relationship where moving into another room didn't even help. The snoring was so bad. It was kind of a small house, but snoring can be very disruptive to another person. So that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's not a good thing when partners don't sleep together anymore. It's just more of a separation in a relationship that's not ideal. It can be the beginnings of a breakup, but it could be nothing too. It could just be that he snores. He says he left work. He left for work at 9 a.m. on September 10th when his wife's car was still in the driveway. Stephen Collier went to work to park cars. It was Georgia. It was I think this was game. Yeah, it was game day for the Georgia Bulldogs, and Debbie Collier was a huge fan of the Georgia Bulldogs. And so he leaves to work at 9 a.m. At 2:15, her van is photographed traveling northbound on Georgia Route 15. There's the picture of her van. She was in a rented van. At 2:55, she walked into a Family Dollar store. She was carrying a large black purse and vehicle keys while wearing a UGA football jersey. She exited the store at 3:09, got in her rented Chrysler Pacifica, and she sat in the car for like 10 minutes. And then at 3:15, she sent a Venmo payment to her daughter. It's supposedly she sent it. And then her husband at 6:08 contacted police because she hadn't been gotten home yet. So he filed a missing persons report. And Bearden also talked the woman here that we're going to talk to. She also talked to police. And then she says that Collier left okay, Stephen said that the husband said that she left everything at home aside from her ID and debit card, which contradicts what's seen on security footage at the Family Dollar store. There were people saying that this daughter dressed, was impersonating her mother and went in there in this Family Dollar store and bought this stuff and then I guess met up with her somewhere and took her life. But everybody looked at that and the legs didn't match. And we'll see when we watch Amanda Bearden, we'll see that she says her mother uh, didn't wear tights. People are saying she wore tights, and she says it's her. She says it's definitely her mother. Um, Supposedly, Amanda Bearden's not a suspect anymore, according to the way she's acting. And her brother's the one that's been coming out making videos saying the police are laughing at him. So it's a weird situation. Obviously, the brother and sister are not like close. Um, the police said that Stephen Collier was at work the whole time. He was parking cars on that Saturday. You know how big of a deal it is for football game days for any of these big schools like Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, they were like number one team. I mean, off and on, they've been ranked number one this season. It's huge. It's SEC football here in the South football in the South is just huge. On September 11th, they got a ping from her rented Chrysler in Habersham County, and they notified the family. They found her vehicle in a wooded area about 60 miles from her home. And then Amanda, now this is important because she's going to talk about this. Amanda arrives at the crime scene, and she says she has to pee. This is her words. But anyway, she gets to the crime scene and says that her mother has no history of mental illness or a history of running away. She's also going to talk about her mother's depression in this. So she will these stories are not congruent. It's not hey Candace, welcome. Hey Nate, welcome. Um they looked at 3:09 p.m. that Sunday. They looked for her vehicle. I mean, they looked around her vehicle, and they found her body burned, a burned blue tarp, and she was naked, charred, and deceased. It was treated as a homicide, and it's unclear how she died. 3 days later, remains were found. After the remains were found, they carried out a search warrant in Bearden's home. They don't tell us here what they found. Bearden Bearden's criminal record, along with her boyfriend Andrew, I don't know how to say his name, emerged and shows a history of domestic disputes and violence. So this boyfriend and Bearden had just moved back a day or two, like recently, right before this. So everything was weird, and then this amount of this Venmo was an odd amount, and so that's where we're at. I just wanted to kind of catch y'all up. If you have been following this, you may know, um, you may know more about it than I do, actually. But that's going to set up now why what she says in this video is not congruent with what we were told. But we're not, the press is not always right, because some people in the media don't care about, following journalistic integrity, and they'll just report whatever. So, all right, let's listen. And this woman here is her cousin and knew Debbie very well. Was around her a lot. You know how you're well, some of us were closer to some of our aunts and uncles and cousins than we are others. Evidently, this family's in a big turmoil. So, this Candace here is the cousin of Amanda. Amanda's the daughter of Debbie Collier, and this is Candace's husband. I don't know his name. This is their channel. When I went and looked last night, when I found out this is where this originated, they had under 500 subs. I subscribed. I mean, it was crazy that this small channel can have this big interview, but they're related. So and hey CLM souls, it was off. Yeah, if y'all have any input on that, please tell me, because I find this to be very interesting when people go live on on YouTube, with an open investigation. I'm just making myself a note of something. I thought of something to make a video about when I was taking my shower just a minute ago. I went for my walk run this morning, and I do it kind of helps me because I set it for a time, and then I'm in a hurry because I don't want to be late. So I'm pushing myself more when I'm out. You better run a little bit because you're going to be late, instead of walking. Yeah, I'm trying to write myself a note, and I can't think and write and sit in a chair and walk and talk at the same time. Uh, yeah, it's not very smart to put yourself out like this. And oh, good souls, good. You haven't seen it. Put a one in the chat if you've already watched it completely all the way through. I know there's not a ton of people in here, but let's just see where we're at. So put a two if you haven't watched it, or haven't watched all of it. I haven't even watched all of it, right? I didn't watch all of it yet. Oh, it was past my bedtime. Hey, Bulldog Mama. So CLM's already seen it all the way through? Any twos? Any okay, burnt popcorn has it. All right. So I watched most of it, but yeah, that's true, Amber. Well, I was, me too, Taco. That's about where I got. I was watching it. Somebody was streaming them, is how I first saw it. And so I was watching that. And then Brittany J was going to go live. So I switched over to her and then watched with them. And then I just had to go to bed. So here we go. Can y'all hear this okay? Thanks for coming in, member souls. Thank you so much. You can't hear it? All right. Because I'm not sure that I hit, I'm not sure if I hit share audio. It should be. It's not real loud, but I have it turned all the way up. So now if you can hear it.
Hasn't held a press conference in over a month, which
Or
has
if it's echoing or
caused
anything.
speculations,
Thanks,
rumors,
souls.
and accusations to just be thrown out in just about every form you can think of. So, what do you do if you're in that situation? Do you stay quiet? Do you speak out? In my opinion, and I've said it many times on here, staying silent, that's the right move. For me, I'm not talking to anybody without an attorney, but it really is a catch-22 because we live in a world where remaining silent makes you look guilty. So people will speak publicly to avoid that. But when you do, you end up having armchair detectives use every little frame to try and substantiate their theory as to why you committed the crime. However, there are times when you just eventually have to say enough's enough and you come out and you have to say something. And that's exactly why we're here tonight. As most of you know, Amanda Bearden is Debbie Collier's daughter.
These people, for all we know, could be setting her up because, I mean, I don't think they are, but I don't think that he's sure that she's innocent. And it's up to this Amanda if she wants to come on here and do a video. I mean, as far as I know, she hasn't been cleared by police, but I don't know.
And we are very excited to have her on with us tonight. Amanda, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Now, first, Candace and I, along with a lot of other people, we've received probably hundreds of messages from others. We want to offer our sincere condolences to what's going on with this to you and your family. I'm not sure a lot of us can actually grasp what you're going through and what your family's going through to not just lose a mother, but in the way that you did. So we just want to say, we feel for you. And during this interview, there's a lot of questions, and it's just a conversation. It's just the three of us talking, and there just happens to be a couple of people listening. So, but as we're going through these, if there's a question that you don't feel comfortable answering, just let me know. With that being said, though, there are a few that, you are going to have to answer because not only the people watching, but I want to know too. So
I wouldn't do this. I would not do this. I would not do this, but I'm not this Amanda person, and this isn't me. And sometimes when these people, yeah, she is Taco. Hey, Taco, thanks for the PayPal. I appreciate that. I got that yesterday. Hey, Taco, let me ask you a question. Can you tell me if you got the message back through PayPal? Because I try to thank people directly through PayPal because, I don't have everybody's email and stuff. And whenever I got your PayPal, and I've done this before to people, there's a place where you can write a note back. Do you get that? Yeah, I would only talk to my attorney. She's going to talk in here about how this investigator got up in her face and was calling her a murderer and stuff. So she's been through it. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know, because I was like, I don't even know if they get this back. Good, good, Taco. Thank you so much. Not the sharpest tool, Candace. I know. Almost couldn't even say sharpest tool.
I mean, obviously the Venmo stuff, the Family Dollars, CCTV, some phone calls and timelines are definitely something that we do want to make sure that we kind of clear up and get the answers from you. But first, before we get into that, I really want to talk about your mom, because so many of us know her just by what happened. We know her from just a CCTV video. We don't really know who she is. So can you tell us a little bit about your mom and like what kind of relationship you had with her?
My mom was my best friend. She was a consistent source of joy, support, and love for me. She I'm sorry, I'm kind of screaming.
I see being nervous and everything, but her mother's been gone for a couple of months now, and she knew she was going to go on TV. She's in her 20s or 30s. I don't even know. It just seems weird to me that they ask you about your mother and she just can't. I mean, you would think if she was your best friend that you would just be spitting out stuff. It's weird.
It's understandable.
Yeah.
She I'm so sorry. Someone is messaging me. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm getting nervous, y'all. I'm really
distracted,
sorry,
that's
but my mom,
It's okay.
she was just a bubbly, happy, strong individual. She didn't let things get her down, no matter how hard life was, especially growing up. She was always pushing forward, moving forward. She was a very private person. She didn't let her, dirty laundry just fly around. I guess that's not a lot of people that claim to know her. I'm not talking about everybody, but
Right.
they don't really know the ins and outs of my mother, even those that are related to her. They don't, they just don't know her on the level that I do, but I'm going to push forward.
But she's getting into this. These people don't really know her. It's, I don't know, this relative by, marriage to you. This Candace is your cousin. So he would be your cousin, by marriage. I don't even know if you say that about spouses, but anyway, I don't know. I know you're going live and you're not used to being live and everything, because that is stressful, but it's just weird that you start in this negativity about the other family members when people are just trying to find out about your mother. He just asked you about your mother. I don't know. She seems like she is out of it, almost as if she was. Oh, okay, could be. Well, she is known to be have problems with drugs. Yeah, I'm just like, why are you even talking about these other people at this point when they asked you about your mother? What was your mother like?
My mom was big on, when my brother still lived in Georgia. Anyway, I'm not going to go on that, but she was about, Sunday dinners and growing up, I guess it was like 15 or 16. Her and my dad split up. They got divorced, and mom was so big into like holidays and stuff that we made our own traditions. We like every Christmas we had and it was one of her favorite meals, a steak, salad, and a baked potato. She loved to cook. She had an amazing potato topper that was about 90% butter. And anyway,
the typical Southern recipe of everything, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, cardiac arrest. But she was just full of life, and she there I've struggled a lot in my life, obviously, but I've had tragedy in my life, and my mom was just always there, to say, baby, she always had the right things to say. She let me know that I wasn't alone in this world, and she just validated me all the time,
Yeah.
But anyway,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, and I sent some pictures to her last night that my mom sent me, and in every one of them, it was our mom's cooking. So I feel like that's literally all we did was eat. Like that's it. They're just everything was cooking.
Yeah.
So they were serious about some Southern food.
So they were pretty close then. This Candace and Amanda's, their two mothers were very close. They were sisters, I guess. Yeah, sisters. So they seem to be very close. That would make you more close as cousins. Typically, depending on your age and everything. Because I know my mother's sister had kids, but I was a teenager at that point. So they were more like a niece and nephew to me than cousins. But yeah, I mean, souls, I would have a problem, but then my mother's not my best friend and stuff. And she's like, she's my best friend. She just had trouble coming up with good things about her mother. It's weird.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I don't want you to get too upset before we start talking about some of these. So let's just go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. No, I would say I understand, but I don't. I mean, there's no way I could. So we did have a lot of questions from people. So why don't we just go ahead and jump into those? Well, I want to start with, the questions about that have been going on with your mom in the day, that Saturday or on September 11th. So the first one, a big one, is the argument or the debate or whatever you want to call it of the woman in the CCTV video at Family Dollar. Do you think that's your mom?
It absolutely was my mom. The jersey that she was wearing.
Remember, the brother says he doesn't think it's his mother. She doesn't wear shorts. He hasn't seen her wear shorts in 5 years. That he says it wasn't her. But and like I said, there was a big debate about if this is Debbie Collier or maybe it's her daughter posing as her, because a lot of people thought this Amanda Bearden killed her mother. They did. And now she's acting like she's been cleared, I guess. I don't really know. I mean, if you're going to go on YouTube Live, you better know what you're going to say. And unless the police have told her that she's, hey, sociopath Jones, another vampire.
She's probably had for over a year. It was just something that she would throw on a game day.
Who's the vampire?
She worked through the week.
Wait, who's the vampire sociopath Jones? Who you calling a vampire?
Saturday was her day to go shopping. And I would assume.
Well, they did a DNA test to prove it was the mother that passed away, but we don't know that the mother was the one in the store, except that she says it was. And this person was driving Debbie's rented van. I think it's her, but they wouldn't do DNA on the person in the store. They would do the DNA on the person who was found. And she was found naked and stuff. So yeah, I would think that this cousin would try to protect her. She must think she's innocent. I don't know. Sighting, yeah, the sighting. Yeah, that's it.
And that was why she was dressed that way.
Okay.
I know
Okay.
there's been some talk about people wearing white tights, but if I remember correctly, she had very Caucasian legs. So those are her white legs.
My mom would never wear tights anyway. She would wear pantyhose, but never tights.
Yeah.
It's nonsense. But
So for those who say it's not her, I mean, like you think it's definitely 100%.
it's
Her
definitely my
diabetic.
mom. If you know my mom and her body type, her hair, you would know it's my mom without a shadow of a doubt. I don't care if a visor was covering her face.
Well, then, but beyond a shadow of a doubt to Amanda, but her brother says it's not her. Without a shadow of a doubt, and it's not her. That's like polar opposites. That's the 180-degree difference. It's weird.
I know without a shadow of doubt that's my mom, and I don't understand. I don't get where that's coming from.
Okay. Now, after she went back out into the parking lot, she was there for a little bit before she left. And people have asked if we would ask you what you and your mom were talking about when you were on the phone with her in that parking lot.
I wasn't on the phone with my mother. I'm not sure why she was there for the amount of time that she was. Excuse me. But no, I didn't speak on the phone with my mother at all on Saturday. We had exchanged some texts prior that day, but I didn't speak to her on the phone at all that day.
So there's been some talk about the text to Jeffrey not going through, and then the Venmo. Do you know when those were sent? Like, did she send the Venmo in the parking lot and then the text later, or was there a different order? Like, how did that? Which one was sent first?
To my understanding, she had texted my brother actually first, and then I had received I'm sure the whole world can go back and look, but the Venmo that I had received was at 3:17. Yeah, 3:17 p.m. But yeah, it was in that order.
Okay. Now, the Venmo is one of the biggest things and the biggest questions that we got.
Are they about to talk about the note saying they're not going to let me go or something like that? I missed that if they talk about it in here, and I kept asking them why don't they talk about it, but I haven't seen the whole thing. But this is where you would say, what about this note? They're not going to let me go, and then they send her this. So maybe they do. I did not. I haven't heard them talk about it.
But I will tell everybody we're gonna skip that for a second because I want to just focus on that in a different section so that we can talk through that completely, and we're not trying to put it in the middle of this. So, like I said, we'll talk about that in a bit. There isn't any record or anything that we've seen or read where she had sent anything to Steve. Do you have any idea why that may be?
I'm definitely not gonna sit here and act like or say anything derogatory about my stepdad. He has been very supportive. He's listened to me. We've kind of cried together even. That I can't answer. But I do know that her children have always been the main focus in her lives and the two people that she loved the most. So, I mean, I guess maybe that's why.
Yeah. And babe, if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt whenever. So Police came out initially, said it was deliberate and intentional, and led everybody to believe it was homicide. They later came back and kind of walked that back a little bit, saying that it may not have been murder. You've come out and said that you believe it was suicide, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And kind of, if you don't mind, like what is leading you to that conclusion?
I'm not. There are key intimate things that were shared with me that I don't feel. I'm not in place in authority to say things and then, be accused that I'm lying, or, my opinion just doesn't really matter. I felt like at this point, but no one saw her that day prior, on Friday. There were actions. My mom was like giving away things that, now looking back on, I'm like, well, that was weird.
That is a sign that can be a sign that someone is thinking of self-harm. If they start giving away things, that could be why she sent this money. Maybe that's all the money that they had in that account. I've often wondered what was the balance in that account to send such a weird amount. Yeah, why wait to call the police? The whole thing is just weird. And her reaction to it doesn't really help me figure it out.
She had made some comment. It just almost seemed like she was giving me all of her things. And there was some comments that she had made.
Like what things? I'd like to know what things she gave you, because if it's really sentimental stuff, like if you have a valuable ring or something you want your daughter to have, and you're going to, take your own life, well, you would be hinting to her that you were about to do that if you're giving her all your stuff. I would be, if a family member came to me and started giving me all their stuff, and I had a drug problem like this Amanda has had and always needing money, they're just going to go sell it to get their drugs, probably. So if her mother started giving her all her stuff like she's saying, wasn't that a clue that maybe something's going on?
She had taken that whole week off, the week of this happening, off from work, and
whole week off work.
It's Friday. I said, Mama, it's getting Friday. You're gonna go.
Taco, if I ever get every room in my house clean and picked up and things put away and everything and all the laundry done at the same time and the dogs bathed and all that at the same time, even half of that at the same time, call an ambulance, because I'm going to be over here going, oh my gosh, who cleaned my house? I am not organized. So, yeah, it's just weird. It's just weird. Oh, look at that. Look at her expression there. So
Back to work on Monday, and she says to me, "Yeah, I can't wait." And I was like, "Mama, what kind of sense does that make? Like, who looks forward to going back to work?" And she said nothing, and it was just the saddest. I mean, even when I seen her on Friday, because we hadn't seen each other in a minute, I saw tears in her eyes.
She saw her Friday. Is that what she's saying? And she had tears in her eyes, and she was giving her all her stuff. Clues. A lot of clues that something was wrong, if this is even true. I don't know.
I'd never seen her that sad. I kept asking her, Mama, are you okay? Are you okay? And it's funny, when she had left the house, she wouldn't even tell me goodbye. Just looking back on these things, to me,
she wouldn't even tell me goodbye. So you had a conscious thought at the moment that she wasn't, why is she not saying bye to me? Why is she giving me all her stuff? I mean, I know hindsight's 2020. I get that. But there seems like a lot of odd things going on that would make you think, and then she's not responsible if her mother went and did that. I'm not saying that. It just seems like there were a lot of clues. Yeah, she moved back. I know. Yeah. But she said her mother didn't have any mental health issues, and then she said she was depressed. So,
Um, I just wish I would have, I mean, it's not that I didn't say, hey, mama, what's going on?
Mhm.
she
But
just
I
moved
think she
back.
was dealing with stuff that she didn't want to burden me with. I mean,
Yeah, and babe, that's Candace, that's kind of like, that's not uncommon.
No, not at all. I think a lot of times that is why it's so hard for people when a loved one does die by suicide to get through the denial phase, because they either saw no indication whatsoever, or there were things that they didn't see at the time that they're looking back and thinking, oh my goodness. And it's so hard for them because they start thinking they should have seen it. And so that upsets.
Burnt popcorn. I have heard there was no insurance policy, so I'm not sure about that. If anybody knows, let us know, because I've been told there wasn't.
Them, and they just automatically are like, no, that couldn't have been it. But you don't know. Like, you don't know.
You don't.
You don't know what's going through somebody's head. I mean, people seem very, very happy up until the last minute sometimes. I mean, you couldn't have known.
my mom was so strong too. I mean, I can't stress. I mean, she's the toughest woman I've ever met. And I'm not just saying that because I'm biased, or maybe I am biased, but I just never in a million years.
Yeah.
And you don't have to apologize for being upset. Just a couple other questions that some people had about that. One was, people were asking if, she was attempting to make it look like foul play for, life insurance purposes.
To my knowledge, there is no life insurance policy. I mean, I don't really know or think whatever who else thought would make you think that's your business. But I think the reason my mother, the then my text read the way that it read, was because she knew that I battled with mental health, some pretty serious mental health issues myself. And I think maybe she just said those things to make maybe the acceptance of it easier. Anyway.
So there she would be talking about, it sounded like she had been kidnapped or something. Or was she talking about they won't leave me alone, as in a depressed person who can't get the demons out of their mind, who can't deal with the heaviness of life, and they oftentimes they call it demons and stuff. What do y'all think? Do you think it could have been that in that note? Yeah, and I just don't think she set herself on fire. Yeah, souls, I just don't. That's the part. She bought weird stuff at the store. She went to this store 60 miles from home, and bought weird stuff. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
And some have also asked if you have any ideas as to why she was so far away from home to complete suicide. Like, why she didn't do it closer to home or in a different area. Why was she there? Do you have any ideas as to why?
I don't know. Maybe she thought, I mean, there's no way she couldn't have, it couldn't have crossed her mind that I wasn't going to do everything that I could to try to find her. I'll never believe that. But
Well, she wasn't so far away that nobody was ever going to find her. I mean, that's weird. Like she wasn't in such a remote place that and gone missing that nobody was ever going to look for. That was a dumb thing. What did she just say? Hold on a second. Let me hear that again.
Yeah, maybe she thought. I mean, there's no way she couldn't have. It couldn't have crossed her mind that I wasn't going to do everything that I could to try to find her. I'll never believe that.
Wait, what? An adult can't just take their own life and then think that nobody's going to find them. I mean, there was a man in Little Rock that was tied up with well, there's a lot of political stuff in Arkansas, in probably every state, but he was working for this really big company and he went missing out on this mountain. It's called Petty Jean, and there's all these hiking trails and everything back there. And he parked his car at the lodge and left his computer and everything in there. And then he disappeared. And he was eventually found, but it was years later they found him out there on that mountain. And they had looked and looked and looked for him. You know, they had looked and looked and they finally found him. So I don't think, many people are going to just disappear. And I mean, that was just, to me, that's just weird what she's saying. I just think it's weird. Yeah, I don't, mm-mm. Yeah, and like I said earlier in this video, somebody posted it. I don't know if it's true that it was either 0.03 or 0.06% of females who self-harm use fire in that, because I just don't know who would want to use fire. Hey, Mike, where were you watching it before? I think the fire was not a means to unalive, but to destroy evidence. Oh. I guess I just couldn't accept so easily that yeah, I just couldn't.
But I mean, honestly, I don't know.
You know, for a lot of people, they don't want to ruin a place for somebody or a situation. So, I wonder if it was that she thought, if I do this here in my home or in our hometown, they're always going to associate this place with that. And it's going to be hard for them to interact around here. People are going to talk about it and hear about it. And so she went far enough away that she thought it would stay private. Little did she know that it came about the way it did, that it blew up in the news.
Unfortunately,
She would
know.
never have left you being accused of this, ever.
My mom would be very ashamed.
Yes.
Of people that have cyberbullied me. She'd be rolling over in her grave right now.
Absolutely.
She would be, or she is? She would be, or she is. I think you just misspoke, because I believe she may be.
But anyway.
Well, I'm going to ask you this question only because it was asked by a few people. Is your mom making meth in the forest?
Oh my God. No. That one I actually laughed at.
Let me see if I can see tears.
My mom's never done drugs a day in her life. Whoever said that and started that, you're a horrible person. I can't help that. But no, absolutely not. My mom had back problems. She struggled with back problems her entire life. And sorry.
I don't know.
I mean, she took the medication that was prescribed to her, but no.
Yeah. I didn't think so. I didn't think that was the thing, but
yeah.
People have asked, so I just wanted to make sure, because
well, you can be prescribed medication. You can have medication prescribed to you and still have an issue with drugs. Even those drugs. A lot of times people's addictions start, especially with the pain meds, because they start with a legitimate reason. And I've talked about how I was on hydrocodone, Percocet, stuff like that, after my major back surgeries, and I didn't become addicted to the point where I wasn't able to just stop taking them, but a lot of people do, and that is how they got addicted. So I don't know what medication she was on, but um, and if you're depressed and you're taking these medications, I can testify to the fact that all those medications did not help me when I got depressed, or may have caused some of it for me to be in a major depressive disorder for several years.
A ton of questions, and we did our best to kind of put these together so that way we could get through as many as possible, but there were a lot, but I wanted to make sure, because that one was asked a few times.
Yes, little Sally Walker. It's so common. And what was it? The OxyContin. That's how so many people got addicted, because OxyContin came out with, saying that it was not addictive, and it was like this miracle cure, and doctors were just prescribing, and then people would get addicted to it, and it caused the OxyContin probably was one of the bigger issues with the opiates. It caused so many people who like legitimately were taking these medications from their doctor, and then they became addicted. And yeah, I know. I don't know what her deal is. There's something off about her.
Make sure we cleared that up. I want to kind of go on to you on that day, the things that you did and that. But so we're going to get to Venmo in just a minute. I know that's probably what everybody wants to know. But the message was sent at 3:17 according to records. So when did you see it?
It's about 5 o'clock.
Okay. And everybody, they want to know, like, why did it take you so long to see the message?
I was, as most of you all know, I'm so sorry. I got makeup in my eyes from crying. I was cleaning. I was steam cleaning my carpets. And I'd stopped, because me and my mom normally go back and forth.
Sorry for your lost souls. Yeah, I'm really sorry.
All day. I was like, you know what? It's been a minute. I hadn't heard from her. And I don't know. I don't know. I just had some sort of feeling over me. I mean, to be completely honest, because it was weird. So, I checked my phone and there was a message.
Wait, you hadn't heard from her? So y'all were in contact constantly? You hadn't heard from her? And so you're saying that you were like constant contact? You thought it was strange you hadn't heard from her? I don't know.
And so there's some speculation about the timeline between when you saw the message and when the 911 call was made, and kind of some of the things that you did between those times, like going to look for her versus making the 911 call, or making the 911 call going to look for her. So, like, after you got that message, can you just kind of walk us through what you did next?
Well, first of all, I was in a complete state of terror, anger. I was a basket case because I didn't know what to think.
What?
I didn't know what to think. I started calling Steve over and over and over again.
This is weird.
I finally got in touch with him while I was on. I actually went over to my mom's house because, what I had just read, I didn't want to believe. Pretty much. What is that noise? Is that me?
No,
It's our schnauzer snoring under the desk.
My earbuds, they died. So I was like, is that
Silly
one?
little
Anyway.
dog.
But I went over there with him, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I was screaming and yelling at him, "Where's my mama? Where's my mama? Where's my mama?" And it took a minute for us to both calm down and just to mentally kind of try to process what this is, because neither one of us understood. Mm-hmm. And that's when we called the police.
Okay, so the phone call to 911 was made first, and then because there's some reports that you went to look for her at Ulta and Walmart. So from what I'm hearing, you're saying that you tried to get hold of Steve, you went to your mom's house, and then you called 911. So you weren't out searching for her for hours before you made the call?
No.
Okay. So I've listened to the 911 calls, and I will be honest, when I first heard of this case, I was on the side of that you did it. And I was there for a while, just being honest with you.
I get it.
When I listened to the 911 calls, it didn't immediately change my mind. I thought, one, either that you were an amazing actress and like one of the most stone cold sociopaths ever, or that you were involved somehow, and that the gravity of what you had done, that those emotions were coming through in the 911 calls. Listening back to them several times, I don't think that anymore, but there are people that say those calls were scripted, like that you wrote them out and that you basically acted out, a one-act play with the 911 operator. So kind of like, what's your thoughts when you hear that?
You're a psychopath. There is something really wrong with this world. To try to pick apart, and I mean, this is cyberbullying on steroids. I mean, I'm sorry, maybe I'm getting off track, and I apologize, but I gotta put this out here.
What you gonna tell
all my family turned against me. So I get it. I get thinking, this girl's crazy. But you're horrible, awful human beings. And I pray that the trauma and the pain that I've had to go through when the police do make this press conference, which they told me that they will, I hope you don't do this to another family. There is no way. There's just no way I could have come up with all that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's human nature to speculate, especially when we don't know what's going on. And let's be honest, like the details surrounding your mom's case. I mean, it's not your average crime scene or your average anything.
Righty, Bell.
I mean, all this stuff's going on. So, I mean, people can speculate. And like I said, I was a firm believer that you did it. I just didn't tell anybody that except for Candace. But, we kind of went back and forth on it for a little while. But I don't know why people would attack others like that, but to each their own. Another thing is the time law enforcement arrived at the scene versus when you did. There have been a lot of comments and a lot of
listen to this closely.
Questions asking how you beat law enforcement to the scene. So can you kind of like how did you get there so fast, or did you get there that fast? Like, just kind of walk us through that too, please.
Okay, so I woke up and checked my phone because I knew, I'm begging and pleading with my mother all night, answer the phone. And just say,
yeah, congrats, Candace and Hippie Chick. Way to go. Wow, 2005. This something's off. And she's saying that the police are going to have some press conference that's going to clear her and everything. And they told her they would. Why haven't they done it yet? Because they had her celebration of life or memorial or whatever they called it. And they were going to announce something after that. Hey, Cranky Squirrel, how's it going? How you doing? Squirrels and hedgehogs. What other critters we got in here? Dog.
Say something. And when I woke up and I didn't have anything on my phone, I knew, Amanda, you're gonna have to show your butt. You have to show your butt. Get somebody to listen to you.
Hey, Kerm.
So and I had tried the night before, but I called Enterprise. Enterprise was closed. I at that moment.
Remember, Mom's in a rental van. And so this is interesting how she tried to find her mother. I mean, nothing nefarious about it that I can tell, but it's just interesting. Smart.
I mean, judge me all you want. But I didn't think to call roadside assistance. But I did Saturday morning. I first called their call center and I pretended to be my mother. I have no problem saying that. Because I thought, hey, if I call these people and I say I'm in trouble, they're going to send somebody out to me. Send somebody out to the van. Get her help right now.
It's actually really good thinking. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm racking my brain, but
yeah.
If I ever commit a crime and or I'm accused of a crime and I come on YouTube, y'all better jerk my internet from me or do something. Knock me out, but don't let me go on YouTube and talk on a live stream. I mean, their channel has at the time had 400 and something subs, and they're doing this live stream with her, and I don't even know how everybody found out, but that's a lot.
People don't see that. They don't want to see it. But the girl that I talked to, she gave me the rental agreement number, and she said, you're going to have this to speak with roadside assistance. And I hung up. I called roadside assistance, and we kind of got into it because I guess they could obviously tell I wasn't my mother. I was like, look, someone's life's at danger. Like, I was saying anything and everything I could to get somebody to listen to me. And they basically, this is what ended the conversation. I said, GPS my van because I have a tire out on the van. And they tell me, well, this vehicle specifically doesn't have, I forget what they called it, but they said that the van didn't have it. So they could, triangulate where the van specifically was. So from there, I hung up and I called Athens Clark County Police Department. When I initially called, I said, look, I need to speak with the lead investigator on my mother's follow disappearance. I don't know the technical terms here, but the lady said there's no one that works on Sundays.
We got chick in here too. We got frogs, squirrels, hedgehogs, and a chick. A hippie chick.
Let me get you somebody. Let me get, I'll get somebody to call you back. Mr. Sergeant Johnson, I think. Yeah, I think he's a sergeant. Very nice man. I expressed to him, and I'm pretty sure that's what you guys heard. I expressed to him my situation. He agreed with me. He said, I definitely feel like something's going on here. Anyway, he took it very seriously. He told me, I'm going to try to keep you updated as much as I can. I don't remember. I guess it was about, it was about 11 o'clock. I'm going to say 10:30, 11 o'clock. Sergeant Johnson called me back and he said, hey, does your mom have a reason to be in Reagan County? And then immediately I'm overtaken by terror. I then knew something was seriously wrong.
Why?
I jumped in my car and I went as fast as I could to Raven County. It's about an hour and a half drive out there. And then I'd gotten another phone call from him. I pulled over. I saw that he was calling, and as
Why would another county? Why would that make you? Why would that overtake you with the? I mean, what? I don't know. Maybe there's something to that. I don't know.
I'm pulling over, I look at my GPS. I use Waze. And you know how it shows you where police are. As I'm answering the phone, I noticed that there were 2 cop cars not far from me. But I pull over and I take the phone call from Sergeant Johnson, and he says, "Okay, we found the van, and it's near a campsite. But I can't tell you where it is. I don't know specifically where it is."
I don't know. What did she say? She's trying to say specifically.
But I can't tell you where it is. I don't know specifically where it is.
Specifically. It's specifically. I don't know. It just bugged me.
And not even 3, 4, 5. I don't know, 5 minutes. Excuse me. I'm going to let me back right there for a moment. He said a campsite. I get on Google, and I'm Googling campsites. Anyway, I get back on the road, and I run right into these deputies. I saw the van. I got out of my vehicle.
So she wasn't like in some remote. If you could see all this from the road, she wasn't like because earlier she said something about her mother wouldn't do it where nobody would ever find her or something. Weird.
And I'm yelling and screaming. I said, "That's my mama's van. That's my mama's van."
And how did she know this van so well? That's rented van. How did she know this van? That's my mama's van. Like, how did she know that so well when it was a rented van and she had just moved back a day or two before? Was there something on that van that made it so noticeable that was the van her mother was driving? It was rented. Weird.
And that was
weird to me.
Anyway, I asked the police officer, I said, because I don't know where I'm at. I asked him, I said, "Can I go? I've got to pee." And he tells me, it's just like, anyway, it's not even a quarter of half a mile, maybe down the road. And I went, he said,
"That's my mama's van. That's my mama's van. I got to go pee." I mean, I see, I know the feeling, but I don't know. It's just a lot.
Look, there's not much. Well, I did speak with them for a minute. He said, we're calling. He said we're going to get the canine out here, and then we're also, if we don't find her within a reasonable amount of time with the canine, we are going to get a helicopter out here. And so I went to use the restroom. I came back. The canine was there. He was already there. They were maybe in those woods 10 minutes. And the police officer came back and he said, "Come here."
Women don't want to be found naked. I mean, that's like the worst thing you could think of. One of the worst things, like, do you ever think about things like that? Because, like, oh, my house is such a mess. And what if something happens to me, and who's going to come in here and see how, my house is messy and all that stuff. Hippie chick, me either. Something's wrong. Something's off with her.
And I knew. I knew. Yeah, I've argued with him. I even hit his bulletproof vest a few times. I'm sorry. I didn't hit him, but
What?
He was just hugging me. I can't was like, where are you sure? Are you sure? How do you know? You know, and he wouldn't tell me anything. He just said, believe me, she's gone. Anyway, that is all the steps I took that day.
Yeah, because we haven't been given the cause of death, hippie chick. So she could have done some kind of DRUG that caused her to set herself on fire. They said drugs weren't part of it though. Yeah, why don't you get some Kleenex out or a hanky and you know, I know one day I was tearing up a little bit and I used my sleeve to wipe my tears, but I wasn't boo-hooing and snotting everywhere either. Should have checked the foliage spores on undercarriage of daughter's vehicle.
So what I'm hearing is like you were kind of doing your own, like, looking for your mom. And when you heard she was in a certain county, you just started heading that direction, which is the reason why there wasn't a huge difference between the time law enforcement got there versus when you got there. Because you weren't sitting at home.
Yeah.
You weren't at home when you got the call, right? Is that what you're saying?
I was determined I was going to find her. Anyway.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. You're fine. You're fine.
You're fine. And how you reacted is completely normal. I mean,
I knew I wasn't going to go down in that fight. Sorry, I interrupted you, babe.
No, you're fine. It's completely normal. I mean, the immediate response to hearing something like that is to.
I don't know if that's her face looks a little bit a glimmer of some water, but it's all over her face. It's like she's sweating, which she's in the hot seat. She might be sweating, but I don't see a whole lot of tears coming out. Does Amanda look like the type of person that lost track of time cleaning her house? No. That's a good point, hippie chick. Good point. I wonder how many times she changed clothes that day. Oh, that's interesting. Snotting. And and that's all the steps I took that day. Yeah. Y'all are pointing out some really good stuff. You need to stop talking to anyone but your lawyer, right? I wonder what she's doing today after this interview.
Denial, and that comes out in fighting and yelling, and I mean you go into a panic.
Law enforcement was so good to me though. Obviously you guys can see I've been on the other side a few times, but Habersham County really changed my.
Okay, there's a tear going down her face on you could see that tear. It's dirty. It's got makeup in it, and it's rolling down her face. So she really got some tears going. Some people can cry on command
of law enforcement. So much that I got to get this out here. Family members, whatever, yada yada yada. Sit there and say,
"Oh." She starts with the yada 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 that she says so many times. It started really irritating me. The yada yada yada. I hate that. Yada 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 yada. It just bugs me.
Oh, I was there through everything. No, you weren't.
Hey, Kim. So you're not a body language expert, but she has failed here in the interview miserably. She has shown every deceptive. Oh, good points. I really wish I was a body language expert. I do. The law that laughed at your brother. Yeah, they were nice to her after they thought she did it, and now they're laughing at the brother, and he's gone public with, "Why are the police laughing at me?" Yeah, she had one tear. Meghan Markle is her idol. Law enforcement have not said she is a suspect, and we haven't even been given a cause of death. In my opinion, she's a victim in this. I'm appalled by these negative inferences over speculation. Okay, Ranger Red. Supposedly she's not even a suspect anymore.
Some of them weren't even in the state of Georgia at the time. And I'm not going to name any names, but if you had been there, Mr. George Kaysen, and I'm sorry, Mr. Kaysen, but this man took my mother's passing seriously. He was fired up.
Ranger Red, we're just looking at her live interview, making reacting to it. Something's off about it, in my opinion, but I'm no expert, and I have no control over what the law says or does with her. I have nothing to do with that. And we've got 20 people over here watching this. It's not like I'm blasting this to the universe. So if she's completely innocent, good. That's going to come out. Either way, it's going to come out. She doesn't act completely innocent, but if she is, good. I have no idea who did this. You don't think she killed her mother? I don't know. But I wouldn't be on we're discussing her behavior. She could be totally innocent. I never said she killed her mother. I'm not I have no way to know that.
I'm not going to repeat any of the things he was saying to me or whatever, but he genuinely acted like that was his mama out there. So, the criticism that law enforcement has been given, it had been for me.
And I would hazard a guess as to maybe that's why you're who they talk to. I don't
throughout all
speak out
this,
of turn, but
throughout all this, I've had family members, they didn't understand why no one was speaking to them. Well, maybe it was because I didn't harass them. Maybe, even, I'm not going to say they had their opinions of me in the beginning, but I wasn't worried about it. I knew that the truth was going to come out. And I told them, I said, y'all going to end up apologizing to me. And that's exactly what happened.
Good.
But I really feel like law enforcement, I know for a fact they, because of some of the accusations that were made there by family members, again, not going to name any names, but they directly accused me of murder. And if I know anything about law enforcement, they're going to take any type of statements that are made and they're going to follow up on those statements.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. So, I think that's what made them look at me a little harder even. But they've gone through those phone records. They have, one of the things in my apology that I'd gotten, they said, we've asked certain
She's
people.
got an apology from the police department, or is that what she just said? Or did I hear that wrong? Or the family? She put herself out there. Well, she has a history of drug abuse and issues with this boyfriend of hers that made them look like it made them look like they'd done something. And also they just got back to town. Law enforcement gave her an apology, but they laughed at her brother. Something's wrong with that.
People, key things about your mother, intimate things about your mother. And they were like, nobody else can seem to answer them. And we've seen who was closest to her. And this is why we're speaking to you. And, family members wanted to say, oh, well, you told them, that's not the case. I will go on here and say, the police don't owe you anything. they don't owe the public an explanation for their actions. They don't. I mean, nobody in this world owes you anything.
That's true.
That's
so
that's
true.
just the way I've been raised, and
there are some creators on YouTube that need to understand that not everybody owes you. I'm right. But this is a good point. I'm sorry you are an addict and your mother died under weird circumstances. It's normal to question everyone involved. It's, the spouse, the family, whomever. Yeah, you're going to be asked. It's sad she's grieving and facing this scrutiny publicly on well, you know what, Ranger Red? She shouldn't have gone on a live stream because this is what true crime people do. And I mean, I saw two people who I follow covering it last night. I'm sure it's been covered numerous times already. And it's just that I don't normally go live at night, or I would have done it last night. But this was from last night. And if she is having all these issues, going on YouTube live was probably not her best idea. Yeah, I think this is going to end up being a problem for her too. Good point, Kim.
I've been raised to be tough. With that being said, but
Right. And just to make sure I understand, I know you're saying law enforcement is communicating with you, but before that, they considered you a suspect, correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was interrogated. Well, I was spoke to Sunday night, and then Monday, while a search warrant was being given, that key family member accused me of murder, and the next thing I know, I'm in a cop car.
Wonder if it was the brother, because it's very obvious that she and her brother don't like each other. And I know a lot of y'all have seen the video, or maybe all of y'all have seen the video where the brother's like, the police were laughing at him and stuff. And here's this maid. I mean, she was a suspect. I don't know about the brother. And now the police have apologized to her and they laugh at the brother. What's going on there? Yeah, they are. They are just letting her talk.
Being taken away for an interrogation. They asked me if I would, and I agreed. I was compliant. I went willingly. But I guess it was about 6 weeks after. Anyway, whenever the memorial was, it was right before the memorial. We had a confidential interview with each other, and that's when me and law enforcement got back on a good page with each other.
But they did several searches and hours of checking into your alibi and searching your home. And
I think, if you don't believe me, I mean, y'all have harassed the cops enough, call them. I don't know what to say to you. That's your problem.
I mean, I don't mean to laugh, but I mean,
No.
It's a fair statement I would make. And I mean, did you submit like DNA? Did you do anything like that? Or
thank you, Jason. In that Sunday night when oh my goodness gracious, the redhead investigator, she got in my face. She said, "You killed your mother." Anyway,
yeah, if you're just coming in or you didn't hear me when I first started, this Candace here on the bottom here, that is her cousin. Their mothers were sisters and pretty close because they've got pictures of them cooking together. So, and Amanda has quite the history with this boyfriend and fighting, cops being called, drugs, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, and then the mother died in a weird way, in a strange circumstances, and of course they're going to question her.
It's very traumatic. But I mean, I guess she was doing her job, but she attacked me. Right after that, I said, I want to give you my DNA. Take it. I don't want an attorney. I don't take my DNA. And the very next day, they're at my house with a search warrant. And that's when I willingly gave my DNA. Andrew actually gave his DNA.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I misspoke, but this Candace had sent Amanda pictures of their two mothers cooking and stuff. So maybe they were just sister-in-laws. I don't know. I might have misspoken there.
I want to say it was either that day or the next day. We willingly gave it to law enforcement.
You're better than me. I'd ask for an attorney immediately. You're not getting anything from me. But that's just me personally. No matter what happens, I need an attorney because I don't know.
Yeah, you might have wanted to check with an attorney before you went live on YouTube. Okay, Black Cat. Yeah, I don't know for sure either. I don't know.
I would, and just that alone would make me look guilty, and I'd be just fine with that. But I'm not doing anything without an attorney. So, and I mean, I think it's good that they didn't just talk to you for a second and then, okay, you're good. Like it sounds like they weren't exactly like your best friend, and they shouldn't be.
No, they shouldn't. He had a job to do. They had a job to do, and I respect that. I think that's the difference here. I respect law enforcement. They've been good to me. I think it's a respect thing.
Okay. So let's talk about Venmo.
Okay.
So obviously, when you got the message, you were saying that you were a whole lot of emotions, like confused, all that stuff. You didn't know what's going on. But I think the bigger question right now is, where's the money?
I am in possession of it. My accounts, there were weird things going on my account. I don't, whatever. I guess it was frozen. But I do know that the GBI, the FBI, they've all been involved, and recently it's been released to me. So
at one point they had it seized, and then you're saying they gave it back.
Yep. Think what you want.
Well, I mean, I think that says a lot because I even spoke to a prosecutor.
It just seems weird to me that she's so combative with this family. But I mean, I guess if everybody thinks you did something, I can see that. Yeah, never mind. I can see being combative. I get it. Oh, and Rosie wanted some attention, so she's joined the panel here. Yeah, you're good with the law. Fingerprints, DNA, hair, skin flakes, wherever you go. You do. You do.
About this and ask them, is that typical? And, their response, just like I thought, was that no, if it is seized, anything seized during an investigation is not going to be returned unless that investigation is closed, because there's always that chance that it was involved in criminal activity. And that a lot of times, even if you're cleared, they don't want to give it back. So, I mean, the fact that you got the money back, I think, is amazing. And to me, just the fact that they released that money to you, even after the FBI looked through it, says that there was no criminal activity involved with any of that, or they wouldn't have given it to you.
I mean, I guess everybody thinks Habersham County is just a bunch of hillbillies, and I outsmarted, local law enforcement, the GBI and the FBI. But I mean, I guess thank you for your confidence. I'm not really sure what to do with that, but again, I don't know what to say.
Any idea what, like, it's such a weird amount. Like, any idea, like, I mean, between the message and the amount, everything else, like it's so, I think it's a big part of why there's so much, people on one side versus the other side. It just this Venmo, it's very crazy.
One of my favorites was Annie. Oh my goodness gracious, you look like a pterodactyl, sweetheart. But
What?
wanting to say it aligns with my birthday. It's what Andrew owed at a rehab facility. Okay, well, first of all, the charge was related to marijuana. You don't go to a rehab facility for marijuana, not in my mind. And Andrew was never sentenced to go to a rehabilitation center. So y'all, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs made that up.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs made that up. Look at that face. Look at that face. Woo. She must have been determined not to be involved if the police gave her that evidence back, though, right?
Sorry.
Well, and we even
I'm
showed
angry.
it.
I'm angry, y'all.
Understandably. And we even showed at one point that the dollars were not adding up. Like they were coming up with all these equations to where it had to be the exact amount that Andrew owed. And, we pretty much debunked that whole theory.
Okay, just a second. You want me to back up? Okay. Let's see if that's far enough.
Andrew was never sentenced to go to a rehabilitation. Andrew was never sentenced.
Who's Andrew? Is that their boyfriend?
A lot of times, even if you're cleared, they don't want to give it back. So, I mean, the fact that you got the money back, I think, is amazing. And to me, just the fact that they released that money to you, even after the FBI looked through it, says that there was no criminal activity involved with any of that, or they wouldn't have given it to you.
I mean, I guess everybody thinks Habersham County is just a bunch of hillbillies, and I outsmarted, local law enforcement, the GBI and the FBI. But I mean, I guess thank you for your confidence. I'm not really sure what to do with that, but again, I don't know what to say.
Any idea what, it's such a weird amount. Any idea, I mean, between the message and the amount, everything else, it's.
Okay, so I think this is where we needed to be. We backed it up and we're going to listen to this part again. Oh, and thank you about my cute duck pup. I had to put her back down because she was fidgety. She is all in that hair.
So I think it's a big part of why there's so much, people on one side versus the other side. It just this Venmo, it's very crazy.
One of my favorites was Annie. Oh my goodness gracious, you look like a pterodactyl, sweet.
I guess Annie might be one of her relatives or something. Do y'all know? Because she said Annie. You think, Abel?
Heart. But wanting to say it aligns with my birthday. It's what Andrew owed.
10 to Life, is that that's a creator, right? I've heard of that. So that's somebody that's going after her souls. Is that what you're saying? Because I want to look into that. I'm making myself a note. So they're probably Ebel. She has a chat running. Annie is okay.
Food at a rehab facility. Okay, well, first of all, the charge was related to marijuana. You don't go to a rehab facility for marijuana, not in my mind. And Andrew was never.
No, you could go to a rehab facility for marijuana. People get addicted to all kinds of things. So If it's interfering with your life and you need help, then you could very well go into treatment for marijuana. Annalise is 10 alive, but might be another Annie. Oh, okay.
Sentenced to go to a rehabilitation center. So y'all
Hair.
cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs made that up. Sorry.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Well, and we even
I'm
showed
angry.
it.
I'm angry, y'all.
Understandably. And we even showed at one point that the dollars were not adding up. Like they were coming up with all these equations to where it had to be the exact amount that Andrew owed. And, we pretty much debunked that whole theory. And instead of admitting, some YouTubers, instead of admitting that they were wrong, they just kind of doubled down and sent the info to Fox. And then, of course, Fox ran with it, which I think kind of hurt because then, Fox has a pretty long reach. And so that got out to the entire world that, that's why you got that amount of money.
Yeah, because you were actually on the couch and pulled those records.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't hard.
It wasn't
to find.
difficult to find that money didn't match that. I mean, but
Right
it's
there,
still
right there on that couch. You were able to pull those records up right there on your couch. That's good. Not that hard. Amanda, why are you playing with your hair so much? Are you nervous?
is very. It's very. We're all still like what? It's bewildering.
It is an automatic,
it is.
it's not an even number, so it is kind of out there.
I mean, you can understand why people would be like, "What is going on there?" She with such an odd amount, I'm sure a lot of people think that you should know exactly what it was for, but you're saying you have no idea.
Yeah. I would imagine with such an odd amount, it might have been like just what was left in the account, or
That's what my thoughts were.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it's going to be one of those things that I don't think we're ever going to have a real answer for. I mean, it's just.
Only she knows that.
Yeah. So let's go on to you being a suspect or not being a suspect. You've said you're not. So what exactly, what brings you to that conclusion that you're not a suspect in this any longer?
Why are you not a suspect?
Well, because the GBI told me.
That would be a good reason.
I'm not going to name his name because really just don't feel like that's my place. But he's very kind to me. Anyway, it came out of his mouth, and he told me I would have my day when it was all said and done. That because they were upset by the way not only they were treated, but the way I've been treated. And they wanted to, obviously I kind of feel like they haven't done it as quickly as I've wanted it because I'm obviously here with y'all, but because they said it. Because they said it.
Now,
So the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, told her that she's not a suspect. And they're basically saying that it might have been, after they said it was up close and personal, now they're saying that it was self-harm. Yeah, she's going to sue somebody. Well, yeah, so that was a good point. The police can lie. The police can tell you anything. You have the rights. You when you're read the Miranda, rights, you anything you say. So going on YouTube Live, maybe they were at a standstill and they're like trying to figure out, let's let this lady think she's not. I don't know. Surely they would have had some evidence by now. Or they can't figure it out, so they're just going to say she self-harmed and burned herself.
But there still will be a lot of people that won't believe you, and it'll take law enforcement saying it before they believe you, and still even after they say it, I mean, it's just the world we live in. There's still going to be people that don't believe it. But do you have any indication or any idea when they're going to make any kind of announcement or say anything about this?
No, a family member, I guess you could say she's close. They tried calling the week of the memorial because I guess they were upset because of the way that was leaked or yada yada yada.
Yada
They
yada
kept
yada.
saying that I had something to do with the way they were sharing information. Yada yada yada. But oh my goodness, I forget even what you asked me. I'm so upset, y'all. Where was I going with that?
Well, we're just curious if you knew when any kind of announcement was going to be made.
Oh,
even if it's not a full announcement, just kind of a, hey, this is what we know. This is who we know didn't have anything to do with anything like that. Any kind of update.
I kind of felt. I'm so sorry, Jason. They told, I guess you could call it, a close family. They told her that they were waiting on 2 reports to come back. And I think now, I thought law enforcement had
They were waiting on 2 reports. So toxicology is something that takes a long time. And cause of death surely has been determined by now. I don't know. What are they waiting on? Why does she touch her face so much? I know my nose was just totally itchy. I kept having to turn my camera off because my nose, I guess I'm going to blame it on Rosie because I was holding her a minute ago. Right, Rosie? I love you. He's sleeping on the floor now. Anyway, excuse me for that. But she's just doing all this the whole time. I don't know.
had the intention of making this information public, but I had another family member, I guess, was highly upset and offended because no one spoke to them. Again, nothing to do with me. They went out and publicly attacked law enforcement. So I feel like they, just prolonged me being.
Yes, they can get cause of death. So cause of death would be like strangulation or, and if I'm wrong, fix me on that because cause of death would be, you know, various things. But if they don't have the toxicology, then they might not want to release cause of death. Or maybe they don't know cause of death and maybe she overdosed on something. They don't have the toxicology. Or am I saying that right? Yeah, it is a tell that she's being dishonest. All the, playing with their face. I mean, I think I'm saying all that right, but, we don't know of any kind of weapon or did she cut herself or, because I am puzzled. What exactly did the fire cause her to die? I don't know. Why nobody's saying that?
Cleared. They don't care. My family does not care. But they handed it off to the FBI maybe just to cross their T's and dot their I's.
That's not
So
really
you just
how it
get to
works.
remain.
You don't really let the FBI take over just to make sure you got everything right. I mean, I think the FBI would have been called in under weird circumstances and everything. I don't get that. The cause of death is not obvious. Yes. Yes. Thank you, hippie chick. The other thing she said about drugs was another channel creator's theory. Oh, okay.
Where you are right now until they make an announcement. Oh, well.
Yeah.
But from what you're saying, I mean, once they do make that announcement, then hopefully your life will go back to some kind of normalcy. So social media.
Her normal life before this, from what we were told, was a lot of fighting with this boyfriend. They just moved back. They've been fight. They do drugs. They do all this stuff. They're fighting. She's got a drug habit. We were told that maybe that's what the money was for. Maybe there was these drug kingpins that got her mother and held her hostage because this Amanda had owed them money because there was that weird note. Yeah, I don't know why you would do that, Souls.
It's a great time, no matter what's going on. And you've been relatively quiet on it, which, I mean, I think that's the right thing to do. If I was in your situation, I wouldn't talk to anybody. But Andrew's been on there
on your
a little bit. How do you feel about that?
Honestly, I don't really have any kind of opinion about it. His heart was in the right place. Maybe he got upset with a certain people. But it was only because it wasn't about him personally, I don't think. It was more about sorry, that's him. Don't talk to me again, please. I'm busy. But sorry, Paul. I think it was more, nobody was defending me publicly, and he was tired of me being attacked, and he felt like the one person that should have been there, should have publicly came out and defended me, was the one that accused me of it. And all his feelings put to the side, all the garbage in the past, personal vendettas, that's not even what this is about. I feel like there's just been so much of, I hate Andrew. Andrew's a bad person. Let's jump on that bandwagon. Let's do this. Let's do that. When all you've done is taken away, the attention off my mother, which is what should have been the main focus. Just like family members, one of them showed up to the memorial and made it all about herself. Insulted my best friend. I can count on.
There's one in every family, though. So she's got a lot of issues with this family. I just want to hear this part again.
I hate Andrew. Andrew's a bad person. Let's jump on that bandwagon. Let's do this. Let's do that. When all you've done is taken away, the attention off my mother, which is what should have been the main focus.
Yeah.
Just like family members, one of them showed up to the memorial and made it all about herself. Insulted my best friend. I can count on, I had 6 people in this entire ordeal. I'm sorry, I'm going on a rant, but I had 6 people in this entire ordeal, including you guys, that had been supportive of me. And, my friend April, I'm not going to say her last name, but
Good
my best
idea.
friend April, 20 years, leaving the entire time. But he was to answer your question, he was upset because he felt like the people that should have been there for me weren't. They were nowhere around. People can criticize him all they want, but he's been there for me. So I don't care what your opinions are. Anyway, there you go. I know that was a really long drawn answer, but
I mean,
There's just a lot of unresolved issues in this family, and that a lot of families are this way. And if you have a drug, Soul said that you've been an addict. You've caused problems, and I wonder why the family members thought she did something to her mother. I don't know.
your answer is your answer. You did bring up the memorial service, and some people have asked what was it like being around family and knowing that some of them accused you, and some of them have specifically asked what it was like between you and Jeffrey at the memorial service?
It was the most awkward thing that I've ever experienced.
Jeffrey's the brother, her brother, and it's the most awkward experience she's ever experienced. Okay.
The way Jeffrey set that all up is I was allowed 3 guests. That was my best friend, her husband, and her child. So I had 3 people there. But you know, you can call them family. They're people I'm related to, aside from one aunt, my Aunt Sheila. But the rest of them, they all thought I did it. They all came out and told me to my face they think I did it. Some of them lied about it. Candace, I think you know what I'm talking about. But
Lied about what?
they lied about it, and then there was the looks from older parties that were invited, and it was terrifying. It was horrible. I had to get up there and make a speech in front of me, I guess, giving my last respects or whatever to my mother, and everybody's sitting there thinking I did it. It was
So everybody's still thinking that she did it at the memorial service after she says she's been cleared by the GBI, Georgia Bureau of Investigation, has told her that she's not a suspect, but in all the family thinks she did something. That doesn't seem right to me, that you would be a suspect and the GBI would tell you that you're no longer a suspect and not have some kind of, that's not fair to her. If this is all true, what she's saying, that's not fair to her, because these family, a lot of people think that she did this or thought that she did. And now I'm almost like, I don't know. But, because the mom sent her money. Well, yeah. And she's got this history, and everything was weird about this case. And you get YouTube involved, and it just gets weirder. So, it's weird. Yeah. Her own family questions her. So apparently it's not just true crime subs on YouTube, right?
it took a lot.
I can only imagine.
Maybe they let the family have the memorial so they could try to find out things. Maybe this is all just a setup to I know police can lie to people. They can come in there and say, well, this other person saying you did this, this, and this, just make it up to get this person to narc on the other person. Yeah, 2 days before. Yeah, I was thinking it was the day before. 2 days before she moved back. She's had a history of drug problems. It's crazy. Addict daughter back in town, had car accident and further hurt her back. Oh, wow, that's a lot, because I'm having a lot of issues right now with my back after having not had a lot of pain in the past couple years. I'm starting to have a lot of pain again. Y'all are going to be singing me, 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 me. Did they release her body, or did they have a memorial? They had a memorial. I don't know about that, Souls. Does anybody know? It's not like this case has been closed and the police have sent out had a press conference or sent out a press release or anything like that.
And
And I have a terrible chat. Y'all are just so misbehaving and over here singing. How dare y'all?
I know, my dad passed away a couple of years ago, different circumstances completely, but I know that
Away from it.
But I know that there was some semblance of closure that finality of it that day at the funeral. And I mean, Jason was there, he knows. So I can't imagine not having that closure, not having been able to get up there and feel those things and, honor her memory and all with everything else going on.
They actually left me out a lot of stuff. I offered to pay for certain things, and I mean, they did take some of my suggestions into consideration in the memorial, and but I mean, that was it. That was the only kindness I was shown. I was even the bigger person, I felt like.
Oh, I was the bigger person.
I was supposed to go second to last and
I was the bigger person. Good for you.
speak. And, I think the traditional order was, like the husband, the oldest, but they went backwards. But it was okay. I was supposed to speak second to last, and I let my brother go ahead of me because I was trying to be the bigger person. But I'm glad I went last because mine was the better speech anyway. None of them were sincere, but whatever. I'm rambling, but
you're rambling, and it sounds like you and your brother really are at odds, and you were a bigger person, and you let him go before you to give his speech. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Taco. Yeah, roll out the red carpet and throw some rose petals at her feet. She's a fabulous person. She is. She's full of herself, and there's some reason why people thought she did this. Because of her history or something. I will never be able to reconcile a sane person lighting themselves on fire, and Debbie interacted with several people that day in a normal manner. I know. Now, did she accidentally set herself on fire? Yeah, she's weird. Me.
My feelings are hurt.
Well, I mean, you've held all this in for a very long time. So all of these weeks and weeks and weeks that everyone else has.
I don't think she's been holding this in. She hasn't publicly been on YouTube that I know of spilling this I almost said bull, but I don't think she's been holding anything in.
Been able to, daily or weekly put their thoughts out there. You're trying to get all of this out in a live stream at one time. So, I mean, that makes sense. You're trying to let it all out with these questions. So that makes sense. And I hope people are understanding of that. Surely.
We'll see, I guess.
Now I know there was some things going around about the celebration of life service and when it was scheduled for. Did you have any there's some, I don't know, I just want to clear it up. From what I understand is you postponed it or law enforcement talked to you about. I don't know, just something like that. Can you clear it up for me, because I'm clearly confused?
I don't know, you're not the only one confused. So law enforcement reached out to me. I mean, they didn't know when I was having a memorial. How were they supposed to know that? But in the interview that I had with them, the only thing I had asked, and I don't know how it came out, I really don't, but the only thing I'd asked them was I didn't want to taint the day of the celebration. I wanted to leave that Saturday about positive thoughts about, her life and love, and that's the only thing I asked. I said, just please do it after the memorial.
And when you say do it after, is that when police kind of backed off of the homicide and when they said it?
Yes.
Okay. So they came and talked to you about it and before they announced it?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
But they haven't announced anything.
They gave
I feel like it had to be kind of a little bit of a shock then when I feel like it had to be.
Her life and love, and that's the only thing I asked. I said, just please do it after the memorial.
And when you say do it after, is that when police kind of backed off of the homicide and when they said it?
Yes.
Okay. So they came and talked to you about it and before they announced it.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
They gave me
I feel like it had to be kind of a little bit of a shock then when all this time since then has passed and they still haven't come out and done that. It's like, okay, you were going to wait till that happens. So what now?
I think a lot of that has to do with my brother. Sorry, I'm not trying to call you out there, bro, but he's just prolonging it. I mean, I don't
know. The brother says the cops laughed in his face. I would be prolonging it too if I didn't get respect from law enforcement. I don't know this guy. Maybe he's making this up. I don't know. These two do not like each other, though. Do not.
I've already done what I guess he thinks he's doing. I guess in his mind he thinks, oh, well, I'm making sure she got a fair case. No, bro, I've already done that. And the day that it happened, law enforcement was like, well, was there mental health issues? Was there mental health issues? No, my mind, I didn't realize my mom's depression was as bad as it was. So I fought them on that. I'd already said there was no mental health issues, which, that brought more attention onto me. I didn't just say, hey, yeah, it's mental health, I wanted it to be investigated thoroughly. I'm sorry. I hope that answers your question.
So for some reason, the brother's coming in now saying that they're not investigating. They won't talk to him. They're laughing in his face. And she's acting like she was their prime suspect. And then they got up in her face and accused her of everything. And now they're telling her she's saying the GBI said, oh, you're not a suspect anymore. And she tells the law enforcement that please don't release info about my mother's case until after the memorial. What's going to come out about it that you didn't want shared that's worse than all these rumors going around? And why haven't they done anything yet? Why haven't they come out and said anything? Yes. And evidently, so she didn't realize that depression is a mental illness. I suffer from depression and anxiety, so I knew that, but she's confused about it for some reason. And how would she know her mother had depression when she was agitating her mother? And here, all she's doing here is talking about how, poor, pitiful her and how people treated her and all this stuff when her mother is no longer here. And she was a suspect. So.
No, I mean, I think it is. I mean,
I'm sorry.
No, and Candace, for you, like when somebody does complete the act of suicide, I would imagine that people don't have the same reaction to it, and they don't accept it, or they don't want.
So I was told that Candace here, this cousin, is a psychologist, but I know a lot of times people, they get psychiatrists, psychologists, these words mixed up. I don't know her credentials. I heard I guess she's in that field, but I don't know her exact credentials, so I don't want to say that. But she's an educated woman in the field of psychiatry, according to them. Yeah, and it's not just being sad, and I didn't even know until recently that anger is a part of depression, and I had some anger stuff going on when I was in depression. Why would a woman set herself on fire when she had access to pills? She had bad back. She most likely on medication. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Souls.
Want to believe it, or
Yeah.
like how does that work? Like, have you worked with clients like that before?
Oh yeah, yeah, and I mean, when people have a family member or friend that has struggled, like they see them struggling with, a certain diagnosis or certain things, then they tend to, take it a little easier. Um, Sometimes it's really hard though when you don't see it, or you thought, okay, well, they were a little sad sometimes, but I mean, who thinks that? Like, nobody thinks that. So I think for
I did
some
not.
people, yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And I think people go into denial. And I think also, and I don't want to say this in the wrong way and speak out of turn, but I think that some people, when they feel guilt about their own actions, they have a harder time accepting it, because then that means they have to accept that they left that relationship that way before being able to reconcile. And I think that makes it harder for them to get to that place where they can have acceptance.
Yeah, and I would imagine too that with the details of this case and just the how bizarre it is, I mean, I would imagine that would play some kind of role in like when you actually do accept it, or if you ever truly accept it. I mean, I wouldn't think that. I mean, because most, some people have trouble with just, I don't want to say normal suicide because that's a terrible thing to say, but when there's so many things that go into this, and I'm sure law enforcement is doing everything they can, but not coming out and speaking more. I'm sure they're waiting until they get everything they need before they say anything, but not saying anything kind of prolongs everything, whether it be, people who are still considered suspects versus what actually happened, and people being able to move on. But that's just me with my non-therapist background.
I have a personal opinion, but I don't know if this is what it is. So it's just completely my personal opinion. From everything that's come about, it seems to me as if the police are at that conclusion. And I think the autopsy's back. They're waiting on toxicology.
Did she call it an autopsy?
It seems to me as if the police are at that conclusion. And I think the autopsy's back.
It's not an autopsy. Well, she is educated, but an autopsy? Maybe she just doesn't pronounce it right.
They're waiting on toxicology, and that could take a long time. And I think that they don't want to speak until they can
Could be.
answer every question, because they know, especially now after some of the criticism, they're going to get hammered in that press conference with questions.
Yeah.
And if they were to go up there and say, well, we know that she died by suicide. Okay, but how? Well, we don't know because tox screen's not back. How do you say that? So I think that they're waiting on that to come back so they can say, okay, it was this that did it, or this, that did, like it was insulin or pain or whatever it was.
Whatever.
Yeah. And I think that unfortunately every week that goes.
Okay, so why did she just bring up insulin? Was she a diabetic? Because I've heard that you could self-harm with insulin, or I've heard that people use that to murder people because it sets off that reaction in the body. She just said insulin. What do y'all think? Have you heard anything about her being diabetic?
They're thinking.
I mean, why would you have insulin that you could actually use to self-harm? And why would this woman think of that? She said insulin or drugs. Like, what?
Thinking that tox screen's coming back, so they're ready. They're like, yeah, we're coming out. We're going to let everybody know. And then before they know it, another week's went by, and they still haven't been able to come out, on live TV or whatever, and clear her and give any answers. And it's so unfortunate, though.
Yeah, and I'm just concerned too that some of the details we're not going to have answers for.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, and that's also a little, worrisome, because obviously you want everything to be nice and tied over the bow, and we know exactly what happened, but I don't know if that's going to happen here.
That hair.
One other
leave your hair
question that
alone.
people are asking, and I will just tell you that even when I was team Amanda definitely did this, this still made absolutely no sense to me. But your move back from Maryland to Georgia just a couple days before your mom passed, like, for me, when people were saying that was suspicious, in my mind, you got to be a special kind of stupid to do that. So, and I'm telling you, and that's when I was on the other side. That's when I thought I thought you had something to do with it. And even that, I was like, that makes absolutely no sense. But why did you come back?
There were a number of things. Number one, I miss my mama. The problems that my brother and I had, he pretty much disowned me. I'm not going to go into that, but he was done with me. And I was just like, oh my God, I left my mama for this. Like, I could have stayed in Georgia for this crap. But I had a slow sewage leak in my apartment. On top of see, I didn't live in the same apartment complex with my brother.
I've been putting bad info out because I thought you did. That's my bad.
Yeah, no, he lived 9 minutes away. But
Okay.
So you're one of the problems, Candace.
I am. I thought it was the same complex. That's my bad.
Oh no, that's what law enforcement said.
Gotcha.
That wasn't you. Which is fine. Whatever.
Whatever.
But her sister and her boyfriend lived above me, and they really kind of played off my mental disorder.
Whose sister and boyfriend? Whose sister and boyfriend? Did y'all catch that? Oh, back it up a little bit.
Info out because I thought you did. That's my bad.
Yeah, no, he lived 9 minutes away. But
Okay.
So you're one of the problems, Candace.
I am. I thought it was the same complex. That's my bad.
Oh no, that's what law enforcement said.
Gotcha.
That wasn't you. Which is fine. Whatever. But her sister and her boyfriend lived above me, and they really kind of played off my mental disorder.
Her sister and boyfriend lived there, and they played off her mental disorder. What's her mental disorder besides drug addiction? Anybody help me with that? And who the sister? Who this?
The landlord.
See, what the problem is these people know each other, and so they're just assuming that everybody knows all these ins and outs that they know and we don't know. So, I can't determine what they mean.
That's crazy. This, that, and the other. I'm not going to go over that, but it was just really horrible. I couldn't sleep a lot of nights because it was 87 degrees inside my house.
Jeffrey's wife's sister and her boyfriend, don't know, bipolar. Oh, Kat, I didn't know that. Okay.
I was tired of the drama. I was tired of being made to feel bad for just trying to live my life for myself.
So she has family issues that carried her all the way to where she was living near her brother, and they didn't approve of her, and her brother and her don't like each other, and so she came back to mom, and then mom takes her life. Yeah, I don't know about all that.
I was tired of being told what I shouldn't do when my name is on a lease. There was that. My job at the time was, y'all know, Habitat for Humanity. there was really nothing wrong there. But my best friend, April, she contacted me one day and she was like, girl, I see and I hear you're miserable. I'm a recruiter. I can send, I guess I got myself the job, but it kind of get your foot in the door and forward that resume, and she did do that for me. And,
That's a good friend that would encourage this former or current drug abuser to help them get a job. Like, you put your foot out when you put yourself out there when you recommend somebody for a job. Kay, I'm having a hard time believing that. They got to tell me in what way she did that, because I'm not following that either. I don't get it. Told where to park, told when to come into work, when they can have a vacation. Yeah. Yeah, if you work for somebody, you're not the boss of everything. The phrase of nobody tells me what to do is a lie. Her friend, hey friend, come talk. Okay.
just by knowing somebody, I got a really good paying job.
Good.
It was almost $6 more than I was currently making per hour. And that was another reasoning. But that night, I drove through the night, Wednesday night. I don't know what. I kept asking them to not turn the air off, AC off, and I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. When you have bipolar disorder, if you don't get the correct amount of sleep per night, it messes with you mentally. And
good sleep rhythm, all these things are very important. I talk about that a lot. And of course, if you're bipolar or you have some other mental health issues, it's going to be even more important. So yeah, what she's saying is true.
And it just that stress. I miss my mom. It was causing me problems at my job. Not problems, but I was making mistakes and my mind's all over the place with stuff. And it just, my best friend was being supportive. My mom was being supportive. I do want to touch on this too. There was stuff out there that my mom was scared of Andrew. They might have had their disagreements or whatever. What family doesn't? That's just whatever. Our arguments were before. I'm jumping all over the place, but I want to touch on that for just a second. Andrew's not a bad person. Our relationship is not what the media is seeing. Part of our problem was me. Part of the problem was I wasn't diagnosed. I don't know if Candace, I'm not putting you in this bucket, but bipolar disorder. Where was I even going with this?
I'm guessing you were going to say runs in families.
Yeah. I was. I guess let me go into this tangent real fast. You can see arrests. My first arrest, I was 7 months pregnant and lost my child. Due to the birth weight of my child, it was considered a miscarriage. A lot of people in society don't recognize women that go through that.
True.
And I went off the handle. I'd never lost anything in my life. It really hurt my mother, especially. She was the only person there for me. Being a grandma was And looking back on it, I don't even think she realized how much it hurt her. But that's what really, that loss is what, according to my psychologist now, it's really kind of what set off that bipolar disorder. Because you're not technically, to get a diagnosis, you have to be at least 20 years old. From the studies I've personally done myself on bipolar disorder, you don't really get that kind of diagnosis until you're like 20-ish. But I went through life not knowing what was wrong with me. I got in really bad states of depression. I wallowed in my own pain for about 8 years. I had substance abuse issues. Think what you want. I don't really care. That was one of the things my mama promised me. She was like, "You're not coming back to Georgia, Amanda. If you can promise me you'll be clean." I don't care what anybody has to say. I made that promise to my mother. I'm gonna keep it.
Oh, good. She's been clean since she came back. And and it was such a big deal. Her mother didn't want her to come back unless she could be clean from drugs and alcohol, right? Okay, so that was a big problem for Debbie. Of course. Well, of course. And then the boyfriend and everything. So she's going to come back and she's going to stay clean. And she's clean now? Okay.
Where was I going with all this? I'm an emotional wreck. But once I was diagnosed in August, my life made sense. The substance abuse made sense. Some of the jobs I lost or quit, for that matter, made sense. Unless there's tons of people that have bipolar disorder, but until you have lived a day in my brain, you don't know what it's like to wake up and not be able to go to work because you don't understand what's going on with yourself. So yeah, I struggled for a lot of years. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in August of last year, and I turned my life around. Nobody else is going to take that from me. I don't care what anybody else has to say.
Well, you have to. It's your life. You're the only one that can turn it around. And if people are saying bad things about you, then yeah, that's cool. But why are you talking about that in such a? So how long has your life been turned around though? Too. I'm not. I don't know. I'm just wondering. Like, is she really clean? Is she really clean and sober? Has she really turned her life around? Is she doing good things with her life? That would be the best she could do for her mother, even though her mother's not here to see it. That would be the best thing she could do for her mother at this point. But do you think the timing of her mother supposedly taking her own life has anything to do with her moving back? And Debbie told her, if you're going to come back here, you're going to have to stay clean. What do y'all think? I just don't think either, Cindy Ann. I don't think so. Nobody believes it. I want the police to come out and say that and tell us what happened.
Good job in January. I got my life together. Andrew and my mother both supported me. And I'll go back to that argument, but I saved up the money. I bought a car. I saved up money to move to Maryland. Just what drug addict has $4,500 laying around? I'm not. And I will admit, I struggled there for a second with my substance abuse. I struggled
Blow your
for
nose.
about, probably from August to December, and I just sat myself down one day and I got help.
Well, that's how, we all do. Anybody, not all of us in the world, but anybody who has a substance abuse issue, they come to a point where they say, I got to do something about this, and they seek help, or they continue in it and they either end up in prison or dead. That's what you hear in the 12-step rooms. That's the way it is. You either get clean, you end up dead, or you end up in jail. That's just the way it is. Can't do that. Yeah, and you don't turn your life around just boom. You don't. It's a process. Whine about it. I'm sorry. I do not believe that's not how addiction works. Yeah. Yeah, it's not divinely guided. Welcome. Crazy.
I need
And
to know what's wrong with me.
It's very common for people to self-medicate because all they know is they're hurting. And when you're hurting that bad, you'll do anything to make it stop. And people being judgmental of that. Sorry, I'm not used to this being family we talk to where I have an emotional connection.
This is okay, babe.
But, I mean, people are very judgmental about things they don't understand. But I see clients every day that struggle with substance abuse and they don't know why. And then we get them a diagnosis and a good regimen of medication, and it turns their life around.
I'm successful. Let me put that out there. I'm very successful. I do very well for myself. I'm not going to go into where I work,
but you could learn how to blow your nose and get that out of the equation here, because it's bothering me. But that's just me. I know I can be really snarky little bitch, but yeah, she's lucky that this woman, this educated woman, is this person who does what she was talking about, medication and stuff. She might be a psychiatrist. I'm not sure, because you have to be a psychiatrist or a doctor or another kind of doctor to prescribe medication. So a psychologist can't do that. And I thought she was a psychologist, but that doesn't mean that because psychologists can work with the psychiatrist to do your medication and everything. So
I just work 4 12-hour shifts.
And for that job, and because there's people that still believe that you are, on drugs, but I would assume that you've had to submit to drug tests to get the job, right?
Yeah. I will say this: it's the interaction that I have with others in my profession. There ain't no way I would come to work high and somebody wouldn't notice.
Most definitely.
Whatever.
I wonder what kind of job she's got. Does anybody know? I mean, she doesn't need to tell that on a live stream. I just wondered, what kind of job? What kind of job could you go to where you couldn't go because people would know you were high? I mean, you wouldn't dare go high because people would know. What kind of job would they not know? It's weird.
Well, and I imagine too, from my experience working with people that struggle with bipolar disorder, when you're manic, you get angry very easily and you overreact very easily.
Oh my gosh.
So I can see how that would have led to a lot of what people are seeing as all this domestic violence. I mean, it was probably manic episodes where you're losing your temper, and Andrew's like, "What the heck?
Yeah.
What's wrong with this crazy lady?"
Yeah, no, I mean, he's not a bad guy. And if you want to sit there, I'm not talking about y'all, but judge him however you want. He doesn't care anymore.
Well, I will say this: any guy that can deal with a Bearden is a saint. because I live with one, so I know Andrew. Like I know the pain he goes through.
I'm sure he'd greatly appreciate it.
I thought though that Habitat for Humanity was the job she had before she moved back. So when she moved back, and she supposedly got this really better paying job that she moved back for. I guess I'm missing some pieces here.
But he's been here. You don't know what it's like to be bullied, be robbed of the emotions that I should have been able to feel, and I wake up every day with some new nonsense. I just really hope me speaking,
It's a shame that if her mother really did do this to herself, that it's put this woman with bipolar disorder in this situation where people think she did something. If Debbie did that to herself, it's just sad that she would yeah, I don't know about her work history.
like you said, Jason, it's not gonna matter me saying if I'm not guilty or I am, but I just I'm sorry. People are gonna think what they want to think.
Well, we
Yeah,
just
but
wanted.
are the police going to actually come out and say you didn't do anything because they told you weren't guilty, and you've got all these people who still think you do, all these people in your family who are mad at you, and I would be demanding that the police. I know you can't really make the police do anything, but that's what I would be focused on. Please clear my name. I don't understand why this interview has turned into a story about a life and addiction issues. Right. Rewind that. Is that far enough back?
He's been here. You don't know what it's like to be bullied, be robbed of the emotions that I should have been able to feel, and I wake up every day with some new nonsense. I just really hope me speaking, like you said, Jason, it's not gonna matter me saying if I'm not guilty or I am, but I just I'm sorry.
That is weird, Kim. That is weird. Yeah, you can't baby an addict.
People are gonna think what they want to think.
Yeah, they are.
Well, we just wanted to give you an opportunity to speak. I know that.
Please blow your nose.
We hadn't pressured you to come on here. We were just like, hey, if you ever want to talk, come on here and talk, because to be quite honest, I don't trust news media. So and that's why if something ever happened to me, that's another area I'm not talking.
Well, she definitely knows whether she's guilty or not. I just wonder. I'm just trying to think of all the different things. Like, if she is guilty, would she be dumb enough to go on a live stream and talk about it? Or maybe she's like Quentin's mother and just doesn't remember,
Talking to them either. But I just hope that some people can at least, even if they still believe that you are guilty of something, hopefully they at least see you as a human. And hopefully we can, the toxicology comes back or whatever they're waiting on, and these announcements can be made. So that way you can move on and you can grieve the way you need to grieve, and all of this stuff can. You're good. You're all right.
okay, I'm good.
Bless your heart.
But
You're fine.
But we just, and Candace and I mean, we weren't going to even.
I wonder what's got her so upset at this point. I mean, she's been crying and fidgety and messing with her hair and her face the whole time, but now she's like moving off camera and really, really, really crying here we're in the last few minutes of this. So I find that to be weird. She's concerned about how she looks. Yeah.
Talk about this case. And just out of respect for family, but the reason we did was not to prove your innocence or prove your guilt. The only thing we were focused on was, hey, we don't have all the evidence. Let's not just immediately jump on one person. So that's really the reason we started this. Because
yeah, I mean, I've heard several people say they're just trying to boost their YouTube, which is funny because we don't even monetize our YouTube. Like, I mean,
Well, you can't be monetized because you only had 400 subscribers. So it's not like you have this big channel and you're not monetized. You don't have enough subscribers to monetize. You need 1,000, and you were at 400 and something yesterday. You may have them now. I haven't gone to look. I am actually on their page, but yeah, Taco, an addict employee. They will lie without blinking, without skipping a beat. Yep.
40 hours a week. This is not my money maker. But my thought was when
You have a life.
but you're fine. But I first said, out of respect to family, I'm not covering this. But few weeks, whatever went by, and I just kept seeing the bashing without facts. And I told him, I said, I cannot take it anymore. I said, we have a platform. Like, I mean, we don't have 10 million subscribers, but if I can't use the platform I have to help my own family, what's the point? Like, what's the point?
But at the same time, you did say that if we go down this road and it turns out that this is what she said, I'm gonna bust her up. I mean, when we started this and we were going down this road, she did say, but if I find out, but hold on, she did say, if I find out that she's lying and she did have something to do with it, I'm gonna bury her ass under the jail myself. But just so you know,
I can't blame you.
We're still in the middle when we started.
Everybody's got my address.
So he says they're still in the middle. Like, he thought she was guilty at the beginning. He thought she did it. This man right here, this cousin's husband, he thought she did it. And then now he's saying they're in the middle.
Well,
Thanks to Fox News.
Yeah, I hadn't seen Debbie in years, but I just remember her always being so happy and smiling. And I mean, I legit can hear her voice in my ears. And when they played one of her calls and I heard it, it was the exact same thing I'd been hearing for weeks. And it's just, she's the only person who ever called my Uncle Joe Joseph. And I just hear her, Joseph? Joseph. Now, Joseph. Say that, Joseph. I mean, I don't know. She just was, I don't know. She's just so bubbly.
Yeah, she was such a happy person. I mean, it didn't matter what, she didn't even talk about herself.
Good catch, Souls, because she's been bad-mouthing the rest of the family. And here she is live with these two. And he says we're still in the middle. And she's fine with that. So good catch, Souls.
Most of the time, we only really had that kind of relationship, but she was just all about trying to make somebody else happy, put a smile on somebody else's face, cheer somebody up. I mean, I've, outside of the memorial or whatever, people, it's only been a few because everybody thinks I'm a killer, but they'd be like, oh my God, your mom, she was there for me. we were so close. She helped, she was a good friend to me, and that's who my mom was. Man, just
No.
if she could help somebody, she was gonna do it.
Well, you went dark, which I totally get because who wants to hear all this? But because you went dark on social media, I've gotten message after message after message, and I've gotten so many messages from people that were like, I knew Debbie from here. I worked with Debbie or this or this or this. And they do. They just have the most wonderful things to say.
She was a good person.
I'm sorry. I feel like I don't want to upset you.
She was just, I won't ever meet another woman like her.
No, but I promise it will get easier.
And Sandy Todd, you are a horrible, horrible person. And I tell you what, you got my address. I would love to give you a real warm welcome.
Oh, I wonder who this Sandy Todd is. And look at this anger coming out in her. Look, she's mad at this person. I don't know if they commented in the thread or what, or send her a message privately. But Candace is like, covering her mouth like, something's going on here. Watch her.
I don't want to upset you.
She was just, I won't ever meet another woman like her.
No, but I promise it will get easier.
And Sandy Todd, you are a horrible, horrible person. And I tell you what, you got my address. I would love to give you a real warm welcome. Please. I want to have a family reunion. Please. How dare you disgrace my mother's name? You took away someone that meant the world to my mother. And I am referring to my uncle. You have no room to talk. I'm sorry, y'all. You have no room to talk.
I'm not going to say very much out of we've done this whole talking. The only one person I've heard from is Sandy, and that was to basically cuss me out. And then she just deleted all the messages, so you can't see that she said any of that to me. I was like, well, all right, I guess we're not for you.
Someone in her family.
It is what it is.
How dare you attack? And that was another thing, I wanted with my other cousin on that side. Did not attack the only people that have been there for me. It's just like kind of monsters. Sorry, y'all. I think Scooby-Doo taught us that.
Scooby-Doo.
Monsters are people,
Well, I don't know who goes after a couple of girls that are Candy and Mandy running around me. That is the most Southern thing ever. Well, hey, I know that tonight was very difficult. We really appreciate you opening up. I think it's important. I know it's not easy talking about this, and I know it's not easy to try and basically convince people that you did not murder your mother, especially when law enforcement has told you that. And there's a lot of people, and it's understandable why some people want to wait and have that final say of, okay, she didn't do it until law enforcement says it. And hopefully that happens soon.
I'm so sorry. Yeah. Andrew has also been cleared. I want to put that out there. It's just not me. It's him too.
Oh, her boyfriend's been cleared too. Wow. Okay. I wonder why we didn't hear about that. Like, why don't they talk about this case?
So,
yeah.
I'm so sorry. I interrupted you, Jason.
No.
You're the most polite killer I've ever met. I just don't.
Goodness.
No, you're fine. But
how many have you met, Candace?
I will say that there
is she a killer? Because you just called her a killer. Candace just called her a killer. I know she was making a funny, but you just called Amanda a killer. You're the kindest killer I've ever met, or most polite, or whatever she said.
Of people who have sent us messages that say
Yeah,
they
who
feel
said
for
so
you
clear?
and your family, and that they support you. And we've received quite a few messages of people that said, I thought 100% she did it, and I don't anymore. And, tell her I'm sorry for me. And we will continue to pass those along to you.
And I
Say that
understand the people that were absolutely horrible, dragging your name through the mud and then tried to walk it back, being
Yeah.
frustrated with. But some of them, I mean, a lot of them genuinely are people that were just, they weren't being ugly. They just, the information that was coming out, they thought it sounded like you were a good suspect. But then they started, reading into it and were like, maybe this wasn't her. But you have a lot more support than you realize.
And we just hope that, I can understand why law enforcement is waiting to make any announcements. They want to.
She's been sitting there on camera, crying, rubbing her face, snorting up the snot, not blowing her nose. And then here towards the end, she's like trying to go off camera because she's crying. Is she just now really crying? I mean, her behavior's odd, but it doesn't mean anything. We're just all different people. People would say you are the most polite killer. Yeah.
Have all the answers because I mean, because in a case like this, like you said, Candace, I mean, if they don't have all the answers that they can possibly get if they come out with a press conference and they don't have it, it's not going to look good for them. So I can understand why they're waiting. I am a bit frustrated that they won't at least come out and say, hey, we don't have all the answers, because and Candace and I were talking about this, and honestly, you don't know what you would do if you're not in that situation. However, I'm gonna do it anyway right here. I would at least come out and say, hey, guess what? We don't know everything. What we do know is that this person, and whoever had nothing to do with it. And then I would just walk away from the podium, like, no further questions. We'll be back later when we have all the information. Like, at least to clear people, so that way, whether it's you or any other case of somebody that's going through the same thing, I just wish that those type of things would be said. I know that they don't have all the answers yet, but they do have some. But it is a difficult job. And I mean, I don't live there, but I mean, I would think that Habersham County, GBI, the FBI, and whatever other law enforcement agencies are working on the case. I mean, I can't imagine the amount of hours and work that they put into this. And I mean, the pressure that they're under. I mean, Habersham County is not very big, and now this is a national story. So I can't imagine the pressure that they're under. And I know, they're working their hardest, they're working their best. I mean, they're doing everything they can, and and I appreciate the police departments that do that. And I just hope that these reports that they're waiting on come back, and when they do get them, I hope they schedule a press conference and immediately come out and start letting everybody know what happened. And not just you, but like everybody, whether they're associated with this case or not, we can kind of just say, all right, well, we need to move on, and then your family can grieve properly.
And I think it says a lot about your character that you've shown them so much grace. I mean, I think we've been more angry towards the police than you have, because I'm like, why are they not just coming out and saying this? And you're like, they're trying to do their job. It's fine. And, also I know, and I won't say their names either because you didn't, so I'm going to be respectful, but there have been family members that have said very, very ugly things about you and to you. And I think that it shows a lot of grace that you did not call them out specifically by name. They know who they are. They know what they've done. But I think that that's really nice.
She did call some people out by name. When she told that one to come visit her.
You
Thank you.
Gave, you remain the bigger person. So I think that says a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you very much for joining us. I know the whole point wasn't to, make everybody believe that you're innocent. If no minds were changed, that's fine. As long as you feel a little bit better after tonight, that's good enough for me. I'll be completely honest. Candace ignores me a lot right now because she's always talking to you.
Sorry, Jason.
But hopefully there's a resolution that's provided soon, and then in that way, not just you, but your entire family. I mean, regardless of what's going on with inside of your family, everybody's hurting. It's
I
just
hope they do find peace.
yeah, people they're just expressing it differently. Everybody's hurting, so hopefully something will come out soon and you guys can move on. But like I said, thank you for taking the time tonight. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you for listening and staying with us. I know that there are a lot of questions that we didn't get to, but there were just so many that came in.
Yes.
So hopefully the majority of them got answered, and hopefully you can accept what she's saying. I know some people are going to wait for law enforcement. That's fine, but I would just ask that maybe we just
we're
hold
waiting
off
on law
on
enforcement.
kind of attacking each other, because I mean I'm even seeing on the groups where people are actually attacking one another on there now. So I think we've kind of gotten out of hand on all of this stuff. But regardless, like I said, thank you. I hope law enforcement comes out with something soon. We appreciate you being on here tonight, and thank you guys for listening. That's everything for tonight's episode of Crime on the Record, and we will be back with you guys all very soon. Good night.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why the police haven't come out with anything. Because they asked that the family asked if they could have the memorial service before the police released whatever they have. And they've had it, and why hasn't, I mean, who's not telling us the truth? Did the GBI really clear Amanda? And is the GBI in charge of the case? Are they were they helping or were they in charge? And why would they tell her she's cleared and they won't come out in public and say anything after they I don't know, y'all. What do y'all think? Does this make you feel more that a man, put a 1 in the chat if you feel like after watching this for the first time or the 10th time that you put a 1 if you now are more in belief that she didn't do this. Put a 1. Put a 2 if you think this makes her look more guilty. I'm going with a 2. You have more questions? I just want to hear what the police say. All right, Amber's got a 2. Anybody have a 1 or a 2? Oh, you think they're giving them time to slip up. Good. That could be, I mean, if they're at a loss for what happened, Burnt Popcorn thinks she didn't do it. Taco doesn't know. Yeah, I'm just feeling more like, personally, this just opens up more questions for me. I was surprised when they said that they thought it was self-harm after saying it was up close and personal and all the weirdness in this case. Why she drove so far away. Okay, she drove so far away, so that didn't happen in her backyard. I don't know. Just a lot. It's just a lot of questions. 222. Oh, Burnt Popcorn. You don't think a guilty person would do an interview? Has any guilty person ever done an interview? Because I do think guilty people do interviews. Burnt Popcorn. I'm trying to think of somebody guilty who's done an interview. I mean, we've had Scott Peterson do TV interviews. Chris Watts did an interview, they're saying. You think law enforcement's trying to set her up? Who's somebody else that was found guilty that we know did some sort of interview? Did OJ? Well, OJ was acquitted of murder. Jeffrey McDonald did one. Yeah, I think that guilty people are known to sometimes give interviews and return to the scene of the crime. Um, she says she and her boyfriend have both been cleared. Yeah, I don't know, burnt popcorn. That's a good question right there. I don't know if she's smart enough. Stephen Grant. She didn't want it to be in her backyard, but yet takes her clothes off. Yeah, true. Scott Peterson, did you know when someone is freezing to death that they will take off their clothes? It seems incongruent, but it's what I've learned to be true. Ted Bundy loved giving interviews. Yeah. I think that that's not an uncommon thing. Um yeah, her actions true. And that we already know that she had issues with this boyfriend, and we already know, according to her, that mom said you can't move back here unless you're going to be clean and sober. And then 2 days after she moves back, mom goes and mom can't deal with it and takes her own life. Jodi Arias. See, there's a lot of them. Hey Angie. Um But y'all, that's about all I've got today. This opens a lot more questions, and it brings my attention back to wanting to follow this case closely. I'm going to start checking the news every day for this because I want to see the police come out. Maybe this will give them an impetus to do that because this is bringing more attention back to this case. Can't deal with it. Stephen Daniel did an interview. Okay. Might have to thank you, Souls. Yeah, we're gonna be doing more, we're gonna do some more interrogation videos, with commentary, so, I'll add Stephen McDonald to my list of people to go look at and see if that's somebody I want to cover their interrogation. Uh So yeah, we're going to do that soon. So thanks for a good discussion today and for your attention and your hey AJ, we had a nice little discussion. Amanda is the one who can out deal with it. I can't. Oh, um, McDaniel, how you doing, AJ? What's up? We're about to leave. But yeah, it's been a good discussion, and I'm looking forward to more information coming out about this case for sure. And thank you, Ebel. Enjoy the case topic. Cat K, smiley face. Great hanging out with all of y'all. Hey, Pocket Sand. Yeah, Pocket Sand, catch the replay. Again, thanks for being here. Thanks for my mods, and everybody have a great day. And I will see you all soon. Okay, AJ, sorry you're not feeling well. Feel better soon, okay? See you all later. Bye.